Just let me see that. Okay, ready? Do you need any audio on? Oh, good. Please join us in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we got a couple people that need to keep at 6:45, so we're gonna try to get this rolling. So, how about approval of the agenda?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Renard, seconded by Councilmember Allen to approve tonight's agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. All right, consent agenda.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
we did have one water sewer termination extension request coming late this afternoon.
thank you.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
We'll give them a fair seat. Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Renard, seconded by Council President Hansen to approve the consent agenda tonight with one water sewer termination extension request. Any discussion? Right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, public comment. We've got nobody, so Brandy, I think we've got you up first.
Whereas according to the National Council on Aging, 1 in 10 seniors in America experiences mistreatment or abuse, including domestic and sexual violence, financial exploitation, and neglect. And whereas abusers of older adults are both men and women and are usually family members, caregivers, healthcare workers, or other trusted individuals. And due to the shame, fear, and other barriers elders face in reporting abuse, only a limited number of victims are able to get the help they need. And whereas elders throughout the United States lose an estimated 2.9 billion or more annually due to elder financial abuse, and 28.3 billion annually due to financial exploitation, such as the illegal taking, misuse, or concealment of funds, property, or assets of a senior for another's benefit. And whereas too often elder abuse threatens the livelihood of older individuals, erodes their extraordinary potential, and increases their risk of death by 300% compared to seniors who have not been mistreated. And whereas Ellsworth vulnerable and older adults of all social, economic, racial, and ethnic backgrounds may be targets of abuse, neglect, or exploitation, which can occur in families, long-term care communities, and medical settings. And whereas we all have a responsibility to support the safety, welfare, and dignity of vulnerable and older adults, and must work towards ending elder abuse by assisting victims in accessing the information and supportive services they need, creating better and more resources for older adults in need, instituting effective intervention and prevention policies, and engaging in discussion with family members and peers to promote awareness and prevention of the quiet epidemic of elder abuse. Now therefore, Ms. Jessica Coots, Mayor of the City of Ellsworth, Kansas, hereby proclaims June 2026 as Elder Abuse Awareness Month in the City of Ellsworth, and urges all citizens to work together to help protect elder adults from abuse, neglect, and exploitation, because it is imperative that we refuse to tolerate the indignity of elder abuse. Thank you.
Can we get a picture?
Sure.
And then also while I walk up there, I know you, but nobody else knows you. So can you please introduce yourself and where you're
Sorry,
from?
I usually do that, and I didn't know there's. I am Brandy Bame, and I am with DVAC, the Domestic Violence Association of Kansas. And I oversee our elder abuse program, and Yeah, we serve 10 counties, Ellsworth being one of them, and June is Elder Abuse Awareness Month, so. Yeah, that was interesting. Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, looks like we have some introduction of special guests next.
Jamie. So it's brought to my attention that we have some police officers that you may or may not know. So I requested that we can put on the agenda for you for introduction. Where? Today. And. That includes you. We have one officer that wasn't able to make it tonight. Captain Waggle is not able to make it here, which I would assume you all know Captain Waggle. We also have a part-time officer, Caleb Murphy. He's working right now, so he was unable to make it too. He comes up and works, helps out with FTO, training our new officers. And Captain Waggle is not unavailable too, so he works on a very limited basis. So he doesn't put in very many hours, but he does come up to assist. So we'll start, he'll introduce himself.
Trace Reed. I've lived here in Ellsworth for probably 21 years now. I'm the family and everything, been working just about 2 years.
Just about.
Happy to be finally meeting all you guys. I know I've met a few of you before. And happy to be here.
Thanks.
Trace has also been one that he volunteers for a lot of shifts when we need him. He doesn't back down from working, so he's a good fit for the department.
William Dunn, just recently hired. 4 prior years of experience roughly. We're happy to be here.
So William comes from Rice County. He was one of my deputies when I worked down there. Did a very good job for me down there, so he came up here. I knew he did us a good job here. I think he's a good fit for Ellsworth. He's not wanting to go out and save the world. He's more of a community policing officer. So.
Joseph Adams, came from Lyons Police Department with 3 years of detention work under Chad at Rice County.
Joey. He just started with Lyons Police Department. He had like 4 months of experience on the road when he came up and applied with us and we hired him. He does a remarkable job. All at his size, he's a big old teddy bear. He's great with people, great with kids. Again, he's gonna be a good fit for our communities. He's very community oriented when it comes to policing. So.
Brady Eulery, lived in Ellsworth since 2002, outside my military time. Recently got hired on back in November. Still in FTO.
Brady's doing a wonderful job. He's going along great. He's learning everything he needs to learn quickly. Like everybody else, there's mistakes being made here and there, like everybody else, including myself. But he's catching on really quick to the values of the Ellsworth Police Department. So I think he's gonna do us a wonderful job as well.
Hi, I'm Megan Ware. I've been here for close to a year now. Not really from the community, but I've got a family around. And so far it's been pretty solid. I definitely enjoy the community.
Now, the reason why Megan's not in uniform is she had injured herself on duty, so she's light duty right now. But one thing about Megan, everything we've tasked her to do while on light duty, she has accomplished.
Okay.
So she's not afraid to work. So she just keeps on, keeps on. Right now, we're in the process of scanning our case files, making digital, and she's getting that accomplished for us now, so. It's actually been kind of nice to have getting that taken care of, where we don't have to sit back and take people off the street to get it done. So with her being on light duty, that part's getting accomplished, so. Once she comes off of flag duty, we'll continue her FTO and get her on the road and move forward with that. So, and last but not least, the foundation of our department.
Deanne Hope. I've worked for the city for 25 years in the same position. So,
And if it wasn't for her, I'd be lost.
good.
So she has guided me and helped me through a lot of the passages through, getting acquainted with the position of, being the chief here. So I really appreciate her help. So this is the Ellsworth Police Department. I think we've got a fine crew. So.
Where's Daisy?
She's waiting over there, very lonely.
That is our therapy dog. That is what's important.
Chief, I want you to know that, I've met Officer Joseph, Officer Dunn, and this officer here patrolling out, at Good Sam. And I found all of them very receptive, to my, conversations with them and introducing myself. So I agree, good fit for the community.
Thank you. So.
Is it appropriate to give them a hand?
Yeah.
I feel like they do a lot. Thank you for all you do for our community and for us. Thanks for being here.
Guys, free to go?
Thank you.
Okay, there's no other public comment. We'll go ahead and move on to unfinished business. Resolution for 1402 Gay Street.
Mayor, Mayor Council members, this is for the property there. It says on January 11th. Then, of course, as written in the ordinance, he can come back and ask for extensions. I really like these because at that point in time, he could show, and go look at it too, and show any progress. That way you don't have one leading you on forever, so. This would put this in place. This is from cars, this basically says. If you identified as unsafe or dangerous structure, and then, it says it's not fit.
So Madam Mayor, I will move to adopt the resolution 2026-12, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to sign a resolution regarding the repair of the unsafe and dangerous structure, by January 11th, 2027.
It's been moved by Council Member Moon, seconded by Council President Hanson to adopt resolution 2026-12, authorizing myself and the city clerk to sign the resolution regarding the repair of the unsafe and dangerous structure at 1402 Gay Street by January 11th, 2027. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, next, agreement between the city of Ellsworth and Fire District Number 2 and Fire District Number 1.
Madam Mayor, council members, been discussing a whole lot to add. Other than the fact that at the last meeting discussion that in District 2, that every township is charged for 500. It's 12,500 over the entire area. In fact, we've discovered that one part of a large portion of probably one township has not been billed since 2009. County's taking care of it, corrected now, so it's actually gonna lower their mill levy a little more if we stay the same. They're one unit, it's not 5 township, it's one fire district, just like right here, you have District 1 with Ellsworth Township, but actually it's a separate taxing entity that is the fire district. I think you can look at the costs, we've had another engine there go down. When you look at the last 3 years, it looks like 80 to 90,000, give or take, have been spent on real fire trucks. If you had any other costs, I just think it breaks down to that the costs for extending services out there is probably $60,000 to $70,000 a year, if not more. They've been paying 20 between the two districts, 22.5. It's been put on taxpayers in the city, so that's what you have to boil down to. Much more, we talked, and the attorney, some long-term agreement, 10-year agreement, My problem with that would be, that'd be like you telling the taxpayers, we're not gonna change your taxes here in town for 10 years, or we're not gonna raise your rent rate for 10 years. But you don't know what's gonna happen to a well, or whatever the case may be. And so I think, I'm still a believer it needs to be year to year, just because. And we've had a year to year for 40 years.
Yeah.
Now, it's the city's bad that we didn't address it. I'm not gonna, I will not, I agree to that. So. I think it's all the numbers there you have, and the rest of them on there, so.
Yeah, I think we gotta do an annual like we've got now, just like it is, and then bump it up. Hey, it's gotta be looked at every year. We can't lock it in for 10 years. That's not.
10 years is too long.
That is a lot.
I think,
It's not locked in right now either.
I think my concern is we don't have an end goal, right? So. And we're gonna try to keep this short. I know you guys need to go somewhere, but if you look at it as an analogy, let's say, I hire someone to mow my yard. And in 1986, I signed a contract for $5, and then we both forgot about it. And 40 years later, we both agreed $5 is not, you can't make money mowing a yard for $5. And the company comes to me and says, hey, I'm gonna raise your rates every year until I'm comfortable with what the payment is. Well, okay, well, what is that? Well, I don't know. And that's my concern is we're not giving them,
You've always had that option,
but we haven't, right?
but the city always had that option. The options there, nothing changes. And what's it gonna be? I don't know. I think that's gonna be up for future council members, future city administrators, future, everything. Could be 5, 10 years from now. And none of us could be around here. And who knows what that number is gonna be, and who knows what that number needs to be by then. That's gonna be the question. Nobody knows what the number is gonna be, because, like I said, we've replaced some of the bunker gear. We still got another $150,000 to spend yet.
Right.
And where that money gonna come from, you put it all in the taxpayers of the city, and that's my concern is. You've hit the taxpayers of the city pretty hard for that, this probably should have been addressed at least 20 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe it was then. But it wasn't, and meanwhile, the taxpayers of the city had the one that been funded. And,
I think my problem is we have begun to talk about this like they have to incur part of the cost instead of us just providing a service. Because that's what the contract is, right? They are hiring us to provide a service to the township. And when I hire somebody to mow my yard, they don't come to me and say, well, I'm gonna have to replace a lawnmower in 5 years. They just do the math and they give me a number. And we're not doing that to them. We keep saying, well, costs may go up.
if you want a number, I would say you go for $60,000 or $70,000, but it's usually $80,000.
And I'm not saying that's not the wrong answer. And so if
Yeah.
that's the goal,
You find that number,
so
how to get there.
let's say 60,000 is the goal, okay? And so we're gonna do 20% compounding every year.
That was one option.
To get there,
Then they
right?
came back with the other option.
Again, 10 years is way too long,
Yeah.
because things happen.
It's gotta be a year. You gotta look at it every year. You just have to. It's gotta be.
So,
The contract was that way anyway. We're trying to reinvent the wheel here. The contract says
so
it's an
this-
annual contract.
I get that, but
But nobody's looked at it for that long.
I mean,
And we need to have a goal to get to, is it 5 mils that it's gonna need to be at some point?
Well-
Probably, yeah.
so you can't say mills because it's a dollar amount, because if their property value goes up in 5 mils down the road, okay, right? So we need to have a dollar amount.
Okay.
Their property rates won't go up, and their residential properties, their structure will not go up. Will go up just like they would in the city.
Okay,
The farmland is pretty well locked in use value, unless something really weird happens with prices going, $100 beans, which ain't gonna happen. Or, 80 bushel beans, it's just not gonna change. It's just land values really, because it's based on use value in the state of Kansas. The house value is what grows and building values, because it costs more to build a house than it did 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And the values have gone up. Just like here in the city, the valuation for this year went up 4.6%. Well, that's all basically on the buildings. And likewise, those same buildings probably will go to the county, will go to the county too. Whereas the land will probably stay the same. I own farmland in the county. Mine's actually decreased the last couple of years because of use value.
yeah, but you keep saying probably, so we don't know.
You never know.
Right?
Well, we need a dollar amount, 60 grand or whatever. and go keep looking at it every year and go, well, our service just got more expensive, so it's gotta go up.
Right, absolutely, and I'm not arguing that.
That'd be a good idea too,
But if we,
and get to where it's fair to everybody in town that's paying it.
that,
We're paying 7.5 mils for it right now,
and
and they're paying, one of them's not even 1 mil.
Well, it'll actually go lower now.
It would go lower.
But we found that one district had, one taxing district, one township hasn't been paying it all for the past 16 years.
right, and I get all that. And I'm not arguing any of that.
So the gap's even wider between the building.
Get that, and I'm not arguing that. Arguing, how do we get to a right answer? And I
Well, we gotta
understand.
start somewhere this year.
Exactly.
With some amount.
And if we doubled it for 3 years or 5 years, I understand you want to do it every year. We did it 3 or 5 years.
Because your costs, you don't know your costs every year. You can't lock in,
Right,
we don't lock in anything like that. We never have.
okay, but if we did 20% compounded over 5 years, if they double it for 5 years, we're gonna get more money, the city, and so, again, you wanted me to argue for what's best for the city. It's more money, and I get it, it's not a lot of money, but here's the thing, let's say a truck breaks in that time. The city doesn't have to fix the truck, right? We don't have to replace the truck.
But you still have, you're gonna be obligated to provide service if you sign a 5-year contract.
I get
Or a
that,
3-year contract, regardless of what the cost is. So the point is you sign a contract to provide a service.
I get that.
And if they don't give you any more money. You know, I mean, that's the problem,
They're doubling it for 5 years, which is more than 20% compounded for.
which is still probably half what it should be.
I get that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the 5 years, we do it again, we double it again, or whatever. I'm not saying that we double it at the end of 5 years, but you're right. I don't understand why we have to raise it every single year as opposed to raising it for 5 years and in 5 years you raise it more. When we raise it now, it's more than 20%, a lot more than 20, it's 100%, 75%.
You know, from a,
And you're worried about potential, like you keep talking about probably what probably won't happen. Well, our expenses probably won't go up that much, right? And if they do, there's no argument that the city, Ralph would come in and say, we broke a truck and we have to replace it. And the city council approves whether or not we replace that truck. Because we're providing them a service. There's nothing that says you have to have X number of trucks to provide that service. Right? And at the end of those 5 years, if we've had 3 trucks go down, then we say, you know what, you have to double it because we have to replace those trucks or we can't provide that service.
you know,
That sounds great, but it needs to be looked at on an annual basis.
I
It
don't,
needs to be looked at. Every year, or else you forget about it, and nobody looks at it. That happens.
Well, I
It
don't
already-
think,
know,
I
yeah.
don't think after this year, we're gonna forget
Yeah.
about it. Like, we
Yeah.
made it such a big deal, like, it's not forget.
Okay. We'll see, yeah.
Fire District 1 or 2, did you guys have any input or anything to propose tonight?
One of the things that I would like Alan to talk about a little bit more, you talk about direct costs, $90,000 towards your little equipment. Is that just simply, fighting fires out in fields? Is that like the highway accidents? Where are these direct costs coming from?
so,
you gotta have, I mean, it's just like anything else. You know, we have certain amount of fixed costs because you have the vehicles, you have property insurance. If you want to replace the equipment that we're not replacing that fast upgrade anyhow, you've got those fixed costs in there. Think with fire and police are the same thing. The cost to operate our police department isn't a whole lot different if they make no stops today or if there's a robbery account. The cost runs, or it's overtime issues, of course, like that. But for the most part, it's just to be staffed, to be ready when it's ever. I mean, it's kind of like your electric bill or anything else. We all pay a base rate on our electric bill. So you can walk in the room and go, lights, no lights. You may not use lights for a whole month or a week. You may be going on vacation, but you're still paying a fixed base fee, for that. Ambulances are the same way. We have ambulances sitting up there right now, and hopefully they don't have to run tonight. Guess what? The minute somebody has a heart attack tonight, that ambulance is gonna run. Same with a fire truck. The minute there's a call for a fire coming in, it has to be able to run. You have to have the equipment. And the point is how do you pay for it? And that's what it boils down to. The citizens of the city pay for it all, the town taxpayer of the city, or does a larger group pay for it? And again, the numbers that have been thrown around here, when you look at every other district in the county and township, they're not outlined.
No.
In fact, they already are too low. And what's ironic about it, the contract 40 years ago alluded to a 5 mils or $10,000 for one district at the moment. That's District 2 was only 4 townships then. And of course, and I, looking back at 2009, the mill levies were a lot higher than they are now because valuation has to go up. And again, the valuation, is different now. I mean, the house there and a house out there. The farmland values a little differently, I'm a believer that most farmland is probably paid $2.5 an acre for property tax each year. And again, it depends on levies and everything else and school districts and those other things. But but again, we're not talking about townships here, we're talking about fire district. So the aggregates don't say.
So real quick, let me explain what I just said. Because I told you last week, I punched a little numbers, so we have a better idea of where we're going. If you guys like a copy, I did make a couple of extra copies up there. And we can make some more if we need to. If you look at it, every township is broken down into 2 categories. There's one that's a township, so that means we were actually in the township. We put on a grass fire or, we were on a dirt road somewhere working an accident, right? Where it says highway, that means we were on the highway doing something other than a fire. If it's a fire on a highway, the fire department still needs to show up, right? And I did that because last time we talked about some of the accidents and rescue side of things. So I kind of wanted to see, but then there was a total of how many times we're in each township. But then I also, the fire districts themselves are kind of broken out. And then you'll see that total in town, we did 46 calls. And this is a 12-month period, starting last month and going back 12 months, okay? This may not change the discussion anyway. Last time we talked about where we were doing calls and what kind of calls we were doing. And I just wanted I wanted everybody to be able to take a look and see exactly what we were doing and where we were going and whether it was a fire call or a rescue call. So take what you want from the information, do what you want with the information, but I said I would compile it. There it is. If you have questions, let me know. We did do 34 mutual aids, and that's why the numbers don't quite add up. I added that up. So we went outside our response area 34 times in those 12 months. And that I am not arguing that I think we have the common end goal up here at this table.
So,
I think it's how to get there is what
yes.
we're discussing, shouldn't say what we were discussing.
The only thing different as far as time is this one, if you want to end the end of the year, you have 90-day notice, which you have until September. But, they also are running up against the budget because on the 2 fire districts, if they want to raise, they have to tell the county clerk by, I believe it's the 21st of July, that they want to do an R&R hearing. Start that process, and again, to look at a crystal ball, what the legislature is going to do in future years with property taxes is a guess. I mean, I'll be the first to say it, but actually, this may be the best year for them to make an increase because of some limitations. Because what happens if next year there's some lock on how, especially if that one building passed this year, it caused some real problem for them, and then either one, the city continues to it, or they put out fire service, one of the two, and that's not a good issue either. So timing is a lot of everything. So this may be a good year for anything to make them kick, just because they can do it and fit and everything. That's an R&R hearing, but they're going to have to initiate their own. 2 districts are going to have to initiate their own R&R hearings. We don't do that for them.
Right. I think a little bit of a contract, 3 or 5 years, I think that also gives us time to actually compute a good end number, right? Because we can go back at the fire department and I can tell you how much I spent. Anytime a truck breaks, I can tell you how much I spent, but I can't tell you how much preventative maintenance. If I did an oil change, I don't know that we necessarily log that, how much that costs. And we definitely do not log trucks by how much fuel we put in each individual truck. At the end of the month, we just say total, this is the amount of fuel we spent that month. For in town and out of town, rescue, fire, we don't know. I think if you give us some time, we can compute that, and then it gives us a better chance to come back to them and say 70,000.
3 years, I could go with 3 years.
I got one question. If you guys lose all of our townships to another fire department, we go for mutual aid, you guys aren't making any money at that point.
Well, the other option the council has.
Well, you need the city
They
too.
get rid of the equipment.
Do you understand that?
You guys gotta realize, look what the people in town are paying for this fire department, look where the funds are going.
you also have to look at it from the standpoint of, and I talk about direct costs, you talk about revenue, right? We exist as the city of Ellsworth because we are on highways. And so because we're on highways, we get tremendous tax incentive from people buying gas here, for anything else. We don't get a share of that. The landowners out in these townships don't get a share of the tax revenue that comes off the diesel pumps. The city of Ellsworth gets all of that money. We live on these highways. There's a cost doing business there too. We're not asking for a revenue share of the tax dollars you get because we live on a highway. But you're asking us for a much more substantial commitment over the course of, on a year-to-year basis. It just seems really difficult for these landowners, these business owners, to sit there and say, what can we depend on year to year? They're sitting there going and saying, we'll give 100%. Next year, you guys will have $45,000 in the budget as opposed to $22,500. That's a pretty substantial increase from year to year. We're just saying, give us a little bit of credit and protect us against us having to go to our constituents the next year or the next year and say, hey, sorry, we're gonna do it
We
again.
gotta go to our constituents every year, because we gotta do a budget for the fire department, so it goes up, it could go up for everybody every year, we do that.
Our township costs go up too.
I understand that, guys, everything's going up. But you also have that contract hasn't went up in 40 years, so you've been getting by, come on, I mean.
We got 40 years, that's fabulous.
Okay, well, now we gotta come up with something to make
We
this a
gave
little
you,
bit better.
we offered something really good to you, 100% more.
But it's also not.
I'm gonna go back 10 years, well, we'll walk.
It's not gonna fly.
Okay, let's let Russ talk, please.
I will say that, one more thing I want to point out about that 1986 contract. If you look at the sheet I handed out, if you only look at the township numbers, that's what they were working on. In 1986, rescue was not part of the fire department. There was no rescue service. And then when it was created, it was handled by the county, and the county paid for that. And then one day the county decided it didn't want to do it and it dumped it on the city. And that's why we're at where we're at.
Could there be a way we could get the county to do rescue again? Is that something? Cause that would save everybody.
I don't think if we get them to do it, I think we need to find a way to get them to pay for it.
Yes.
And if we did a 3 or 5 year contract, that would give the city time to go do that.
I think we do a 3-year contract with what you guys presented us, and we go from there. Everybody gets some time, we see how it goes, see what the costs are.
Cause I can, over the next 3 years, I'll crunch a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
I could come
That
back
would be a
with much
good-
more for 3 or 5, whatever the length of the contract may be.
Yeah.
So with us doubling it for your guys' wanting up the mill every year, and if we double our contract in 6 years, we'll be at that. So why would we look at it in 3? If we're opposed to do what you guys want to do, I mean, 6 years is where we're gonna be at. If we double.
Well, if we're just doubling it, then that price is that what I'm taking, is that price gonna stay the same for 5 years,
Yeah,
or what are we
if
coming
we
up?
double it, the price stays at 5, it stays the same for 5 years. We as a city would make a little bit more than if we did a 20% compounding. Cause I think 5 years is a good contract to do that. We make a little bit more money. It gives us plenty of time to have solid numbers. It gives us time to go to the county and say, you dumped this on us, and I don't even know what year it was. Sometime in the early 2000s, they dumped this on us. And now the city has got to find a way to pay for it, or the townships, or whoever. We got to find a fair way to pay for it.
Yeah.
Or we build a county or something. Because there are other counties that have done that. There are other counties that the county gets money to do that, and then they distribute it amongst the fire departments in that county.
They tax everybody evenly.
Yes, for the rescue side, not the fire, but the rescue side, and they do that, and then our contract with them becomes solely fire, not rescue. Rescue is with the county itself. And I think in 5 years, that's a great goal to have. I think that's fair for everybody. I think it's everybody in the county, not just in the city, not just in the townships. I think a 5-year contract could get us there. If we double it for 5 years, I think that's a good contract. Again, my opinion, I'm only one vote, I'm only one voice. I think it gets us there. I think it gets us more money. It's a step in the right direction for the city. The city gets more money. If a truck breaks at the end of those 5 years, that becomes part of the discussion of when you renegotiate. Hey, we lost a truck and it's gonna cost us $60,000
But
more.
don't forget, the city increased fire budget by 40,000, sure.
And that's a discussion for us.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't involve them.
The
that's
point
a
is,
discussion for us.
so when I do the budget, we'll do the budget in a second, what the city gonna budget for fire? And you keep raising taxpayers in this community. I mean, that's what you gotta.
And that's a discussion for us.
I agree.
And I'm not saying it should go up or down or stay the same, right? I get that's a completely separate discussion. But it's a discussion we need to have. If theirs goes up, does ours go down, does ours stay the same? I would not argue that ours should go up in more than years, we're paying a lot.
I don't think it goes, I would argue that it shouldn't go down because you're so far behind.
And that's a discussion. I'm hesitant, I'm not gonna say it shouldn't because I'm kind of biased, but. Because we have safety here, but
Julie, Colby, I think you guys are the spokespeople for your fire districts. Anything else you want to add
I
or
would just say
present
that,
to
you know, yeah, Fire District 1 and Fire District 2 are united in this, so you want to represent all 6 of these townships as a united front and say, look, we're really, gonna do our very best to stand up for the landowners, and I feel like they've really come forward and said, you know, we'll double it, and it's a great thing. I think that in Fire District 1 and Fire District 2, we're looking at 5 years as something that we would take back to our constituents and say, this is something that we're gonna make some good progress here. We're not gonna solve it. 40 years is a big problem to try and solve overnight, but in 5 years, making progress at 100%, and then again, providing more money than initially Al asked for in the first place. I think that's a pretty good gesture on our part. And our landowners are less concerned about the money, and they're much more concerned about, are you treating us fair? Are you respecting what we're doing? Are you respecting our business? And the thing that I keep getting from the conversation I've had with them is that that's what they're trying to show you guys. So that's it needs to go up. We will do 100%. And hopefully you see that as a sign of respect from the townships to the city of Ellsworth. We very much want to be here and participate and all that stuff, but we can't fix it overnight. And we need to have something that we can kind of rest on and feel like we've made some progress. We've not solved everything, but 5 years is where we stand on that.
I think 5 is fair. It's what I proposed the last meeting, and somebody out there didn't think that 5 was fair. I think 5 is fair.
And Russ, you thought 5 was fair?
I think 5 is
Dan?
fair.
Any thoughts to share?
This is very difficult for me because I respect Mr. Nichols' experience in managing a budget. And I also respect the township's desire to resolve this issue in a way that's functional for them to do, that they can do without feeling, I would think, crunch or pain. So I'm just at a crossroad because again, I have confidence in Mr. Dinkle's administration, and when I think of the taxpayers of the city of Ellsworth, their expenditure over an extended period of time, what they might like to see occur. And I was trying to do some research on open hearings. Does the city have a voice? If there was a hearing where the city taxpayers came in and articulated what they would like to see happen, is that?
We have a budget hearing every year.
We need to come up with some.
Bottom line is, that it's not what I want. I mean, you know, my job in is to find a problem. And it's just easy for me to just say, forget about it. But you bring a new administrator in this year, and that'd be, I mean, it needs to be addressed now. It's something that's been sticking there. You know, as I have with other city issues, is I find the issues that you need to address and it's real. We end up out here. I'm gonna become a taxpayer. Well, I am small now, but it's gonna grow a lot more here in the next year or so. When I get the house done. So I'll be a taxpayer in the city too. So I'm worried about that. But it's when you look at the total budget and when you look at what the city has spent on certain things, you have to address it. Yeah.
I think
You've
you'll
had-
agree
you've
that
had
we have to address it, and that's what we're trying to do.
You've had 3 years of just running your budget until I got here, just running your budget willy-nilly. And that's where your taxes are where they're at now. And that's why there's taxpayer problems is in the state because you haven't been. But yet there's a total cost and it's a fairness issue. And again, where you end up is where you end up at, and that's fine. But, you know,
Steve had
Could
to
it be
give
written
up.
to where if something crazy did happen, you could, maybe there's a way to renegotiate in a 5-year thing, or what? I'm not a lawyer.
Didn't we agree
We
last?
did find
time
out
that
one
we-
township
You
in,
know, I'm just talking something.
we found out one township with the city of Lansing, for signature, where they had an 18-month notice. And there's different ways, and, personally, I'm an old school that I don't like multi-year contracts for this because of the cost going up and this governing body buying another governing body, because you're buying people that are gonna be here 5 to 4 years. However, the city attorney has told me he's comfortable with it, and we share every look at that, I'm fine with that. The point is what are you doing to yourself and the other commissioners in 2 years, 4 years? And also what are you doing to the taxpayers? That's what you have to think about, that's what you have to weigh.
And I understand all that. I think the problem, you're trying to solve a 40-year problem, a 40-year stake or whatever, and it's not gonna. I mean, if it was one time, hey, it's time to raise them 20% and then we'll readdress, I mean, we'll do year to year, but they can expect us to not readdress it for 5 years because we're doing it every 5 years. That's one thing, but we didn't do it for 40 years. Right, and so we've got to find a way to get that fixed, and it's not gonna happen overnight. I think, again, you know how I feel. Sorry.
Steve, how do you feel about a 5-year contract?
I want to go back and talk about how the county got out of doing this, they got on with the city. Because my understanding is if the county was chipping in on this deal, a lot of this whole discussion would go.
And that's why I'm saying we need to buy some time. We need to buy some time to address the county.
County attorney, city attorney, you have any
City attorney.
thoughts?
You're talking something that I'm not aware of, so I could obviously look into it, but it may have been an agreement with the city not providing EMS services, that the county would provide EMS services, and the city would provide fire service. I have no idea, so, how that agreement was made, or what the even basis of that agreement is, that would have, in all likelihood, predated me, or at least I'm not aware of how that came about. So I can't speak intelligently to it tonight, but it would be something that I could look into to see what the basis of that was, or what the agreement of it was, how that came about.
I guess what I was thinking about today was, how many other small towns like Ellsworth that are within so many miles of that interstate are in the same position we're in?
So when all this came about, all of them were, right, like statewide. So I don't know all the specifics about what happened before, but just a quick breakdown is there was no rescue, there was no EMS. EMS was a volunteer service in Ellsworth County, and they also did rescue. At some point, they went to a paid full-time EMS, and rescue got kicked to the city. At that time, Ellsworth City Fire Department did rescue in the entire county because, I mean, originally it was EMS, and EMS covers the whole county. And so when we picked it up at the fire department, we were the only ones with the equipment. So we did the entire county, but slowly other fire departments in the county have bought gear so that they can now do their own rescue. How they address that with their townships, I don't know. I'm sure that's part of their discussion. They don't have the interstate like we do necessarily. I mean, Wilson has a little bit of it. They probably don't have as many highways as we have coming through here. We have so many in our response area. It's a little bit more. So, but it needs to be addressed. It needs to be looked at, and it needs to go back. I think the county needs to be part of that discussion because it kind of got kicked to these local communities to kind of deal with that. And we're all doing it a little bit differently, I think.
I think the thing with is if, my recommendation would be you give a number and then they counter back or come to agreements, they're gonna have to raise taxes and everything else and do their things. So if they don't, and then at some point in time, they still got the option to do the 90-day notice, move to there.
I'm good with 5, I'll look for 5 and then read, and then look at it again.
It sounds like we're kind of all in a consensus, like a 5-year contract for the amount that you proposed the last time, if you guys want to bring that back to your fire districts and do a formal presentation, Colby?
My question again becomes, from a legality standpoint, seeing the language. And when do we see something from PJ that says this is what the clause is like? Because I think that's gonna be something that's important to us.
I think the council said what they'll do. The question is there's no reason to do it unless you can raise taxes. If you can't raise the taxes, then you got a whole new game. You and the two districts have to raise taxes. And like I said, in your district, it doubles it. In that district over here, it's a little different because like I said, the whole district has been paying for it anyhow. And, again, not their fault. And, but yeah, I mean, you know, that's what it boils down to, because the city can make an agreement on one, and you can't sign it until you get your taxes in place.
Sure.
I mean, that's,
But we could have an idea what that, my concern is the clauses. What do the clauses look like? If you're looking for like some type of a renegotiation clause or something.
they are offering a 5-year agreement.
Okay, fair enough.
To end, basically would end on December 31st of 2031. I mean, that's what I'm hearing, you know, but there's no sense doing a contract until we know that it's acceptable, and because your districts are all, the two districts are gonna have to raise their taxes. And if you're not willing to do that, then you got a whole nother game.
Sure. And like I said at the last meeting, my thought was, or this is what I'm hearing, no one really has an issue with the services provided in the contract itself. It comes down to the length of the agreement, the terms of the agreement, and the cost. I wasn't looking to reinvent, I mean, I could draft a contract, however, besides the contract draft, we can make it as simple or as, you know, convoluted as we want to. But I was gonna, my plan, unless I'm, you know, instructed otherwise, was to essentially use the previous agreement as a framework to put together the new agreement, same services provided. There may be, you know, that's 40-day agreement, so there may be some updating of language that we have to put in there. But I was given the impression that that would be the framework of it. What the main discussion here is going to be the length of the agreement and the cost of the agreement.
And I think that's good. We just simply don't want any surprises. There's a lot of logistics that have to happen on our end to try and make this all work in the time frame we have. And so we don't want to go through all of that when there's a surprise in the contract and like that.
Well, we ain't gonna be able to do an agreement until mid-September, because you have to get your budgets approved.
Sounds good.
And you cannot have an R&R hearing before August 20th. And, you know, I mean, that's things that you're gonna, because both your districts are gonna have to do an R&R hearing.
And I think bottom line, like PJ said, excuse me, Paul, Mr. Casper, that, that we don't want to change the agreement, essentially. It's just rechanging the amount and the length. We don't want to surprise you, and we don't want you to be surprised. If I was in your shoes, I would be very upset. So what else can we hash out, or do you have any questions? Does anything not make sense? We don't want you to leave wishing that you had said this or asked that, because we know it's kind of crunch time to get budgets done.
I don't have any.
Julie, anything?
I think we're good. What do you guys?
Good.
Thank you guys very much for coming back. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Wait. A little less than 30 minutes. New business.
We can do it.
Yeah.
I don't even. Approval of agricultural land real estate contract for the sewer lagoon project.
Madam Mayor, Council, this is contract with the Commonwealth Revocable Trust. The only change that you'll notice is the one we sent to you on page number 23 of your agreement, or item number 13. We now have the city attorney's recommendation. We have water rights, and we're buying the land and all the water rights. And he had good reasons for it. I totally agreed. There was no issue with that this morning. So what'll happen now, we signed the agreement. We'll close on 24th of July. You know, as I've said in my letter, part of this was paid for balloon funds, but we're not city funds because of what the state has. I will submit this to say as soon as I get return contract from the purchaser or the seller, and then we'll go ahead and get the money and give it to the city. Like I get that loan back, so I'd have the money all available. So, you know, get that going. We have plenty of time. I think it was a good negotiation. Again, I appreciate that. Chris Pearson doing the negotiation. It's worked out well. And we'll move forward.
Right, Madam Mayor, I move to approve the contract to purchase the agricultural land real estate contract for the Sewer Lagoon project in the amount of $340,065.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Allen, second by Councilmember Moon to approve the contract of the purchase of agricultural land real estate contract for the Sewer Lagoon project in the amount of $340,065. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Sorry for you for a second. Okay, review and approval of recommendation of the Ellsworth Convention and Tourism Committee for allocation of transient guest tax.
Mayor, this year, Mr. Federal Grow Ellsworth, and he worked with the committee. They're recommending $1,050 to be sent to these different entities. And as I mentioned in my letter, the only concern I have, of course, is that one of the Rhythms and Reels who submitted their request before the date, but the committee did not meet till after they already have their event, so if you feel comfortable giving that amount of money, that's up to you. You know, they said they used some reserve fund for that, but again, that's just the only thing there, so. We'll go from there.
And one thing I would like to see, and I believe we said this last year, but Kevin wasn't here, that we want these folks to come in and give us a presentation or at least submit some sort of something for our packet to say, this is what I used the money you gave us for, because I feel like that's, we deserve that. The community deserves that. So if you pass that on to Kevin, I think that.
Hey, this is Kevin. I'm on Zoom. Can you hear me okay? I might mention we do have the reports from last year's events. I didn't include it in the packet that I sent to Alan, but I can certainly send that over to the to Alan to distribute to you all. And I can also, when I send out next round of emails, I can remind everyone to come in and give a short presentation in person.
That would be great. Thanks. Yeah, we could just have those in our packet for next meeting. I think.
I'll get them to you.
Yeah, so that way they're public record. Yeah, thanks, Kevin.
So are we good with Rhythms and Reels getting that? Do they use it for next year?
Kevin, can you explain, did you already give Rhythm and Reels the 5,000 or? they would
No,
have to-
so it hasn't been given to them yet. Essentially, they turned in the application before the deadline, but then with trying to get a committee of working folks in one room together, finding a time that works for that, we didn't get the recommendation in until this meeting, obviously, and Rhythm and Reels has happened in between then. So in order to make the event happen this year, when I chatted with them, they pulled some money out of reserves. So this recommendation would kind of go towards the long-term sustainability of the event, since they didn't necessarily have the money that they spent this year initially budgeted for it, since the event was kind of in that weird spot between tourism tax dollars getting sent out. It's just how the calendar fell this year, and when the committee was able to meet.
I do think that event was a little earlier this year than it has been the last few years, so since. Okay, any more questions for Kevin? Okay.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the expenditures of transient guest tax fund in the amount of $18,050 as recommended by the Convention and Tourism Committee.
Second that.
It's been moved by Council President Hansen, second by Councilmember Renard to approve the expenditures of the transient guest funds in the amount of $18,050 as recommended by the Convention and Tourism Committee. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Okay, agreement with USD 327 for the use of City of Ellsworth facilities for the 26-27 school year. Includes City Hall Gymnasium, Recreation Center, and Sports Complex.
So basically that agreement isn't changing from what we did last year, so just need to have that approved and.
Is it the same dollar amount?
Yeah.
We increased by quite a bit last year. I'm not arguing you should do some more, but.
I was just curious. What was it before?
7,500.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve this agreement to have the USD 327 use the City of Ellsworth facilities and include City Hall Gymnasium, Rec Center, and Sports Complex for the total rental amount of $12,000 for the 2026-2027 school.
I'll second.
You got it.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Hanson, second by Councilmember Moon to approve the use of, for USD 327 to use City Hall, the Recreation Center and Sports Complex for a total of $12,000 a year. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion passed. Getting comfortable? Okay, what do you got next for us? Bids from Focal Point?
Yeah, on that, and Ken Jack's painting, we applied for that grant through Dave Hansen for 32,000. We received 15,000. So, the Ken Jack's painting bid was 13 some change, and I got with Local Point on to do the stone seals with Kurt, and basically he can make the concrete seals for like $1,500, so that would get us to our 15,000, and we would just store those until we can find the money or do another grant. Yeah, just need permission to have the work done.
Right, Madam Mayor, I move to approve the painting of the ceiling and beams along with construction of the concrete sills for the Health and Recreation Center in the amount of $14,996 and not to exceed $15,000 with work to be done by Ken Jack's Painting and Focal Point Stone Carving. The project shall be funded by the received Dane G. Hansen Foundation grant.
Second. It's been moved by Councilmember Allen, second by Council President Hanson to approve the painting of the ceiling and beams along with the construction of the concrete sills for the Health and Recreation Center in the amount of $14,996 and not to exceed 15 grand with work to be done at Ken Jack's Painting and Focal Point Stone Carving. The project shall be funded and by the received Dane G. Hansen Foundation grant. Any further discussion?
Ronnie,
Sir.
the tennis pickleball backboard, had you presented it, it already would have been built by now.
I'm sorry to say, but I got.
Any discussion on this agenda item? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion passed. You got power right now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ronnie. Okay, 2027 budget.
Madam Mayor and Council, you can read what I had in the packet. Basically, our valuation's up 4.6%, $21,370,151. It drops our R&R down to 77.105 mils. I really believe we can stick there. And at the next meeting, we're gonna have a night of Kevin Cowan with Gilbert Bill, didn't have it done yet, all the stuff done yet, is we'll end the TIF district. So we'll be able to move some funds around. I think there's a big items we have to think about, of course, is one, the $300,000 to $400,000 for ball field lights, the $500,000 to $600,000 to fix Third Street. You have to just come in Devon's down the road and pay for those things. You know, got airport costs you can look at all the time. I think from an employee standpoint, health insurance scared the heck out of me because I'm anticipating 15 to 20% increase in health insurance with everybody else seeing blues. And frankly, the city has a sweetheart plan. I mean, I'm not on it, never was, I've never had one this good in my career. But the point is, you have a plan, but how do you get that to the employees and still give them dollars? But it's a good plan, but it's gonna be a cost that we're gonna have to pay. And as those costs, work comp costs are in good shape because we got our mod down, but you know, work comp costs are always out there, and again, insurance costs and everything else. I really believe we can try to do a lot more information next time, so feeling good about that part. TIF thing is gonna really be to our advantage that ends now. Because that's $100,000 that's gonna go to the general fund rather than going to the TIF fund, which now we have excess dollars every year. That's good, discussion for another day. So that's all we have for that.
Okay. Then it looks like we need to set dates for interviews for city administrator position.
Madam Mayor, the committee has chosen three right now to interview. We had that 5, but 2 have backed out. We have 3, we do have another one we haven't decided on yet. I would suggest that the council sets 2 nights for interviews, to 2 one night, one the third night, and do a second one, do the second night. I'm suggesting you do it here the week of July the 5th, 6th, or wait until we do a 13th, you have a council meeting that night, but get them for the county fair for mayor and get out of fireworks for council over here. So I just want to set 2 days, like 6th and 7th or 7th and 8th. and do interviews at 5:30 and, do 2 per night. Probably an hour and a half per interview, so. Unless you have something else you want to do, I mean, different communities do different things, you do public sessions. The only thing with having public comment sessions is that the name become public then, which I've been through both ways. And it's an issue when you are in a job and you're applying and it goes public, and I've had that happen to me, of course, and you have to deal with that. On the other hand, that's, but the council, the community did hire you to do this job too, so you have that too, so. Give me 2 days.
I can't do the 8th. We have a board meeting that night.
I can't do the 9th because I have wedding anniversary
Nobody wants to do this.
my 49th.
Friday. So
I'm free whenever you guys pick 2 days.
Or do you wanna do like on the 6th work for anybody? 6, 7? Sorry, I know myself.
I could probably make this 6th.
Or we could go 7th and then the 14th. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a day
I
out.
can't do 4th.
Okay,
My job's very different.
yeah, oh, I got it, you're getting the time of year.
Yeah, the 6th would be Fair Association, but if I gave them enough heads up, maybe they could move it. But 6th, 7th would like it, probably move around in.
I would suggest make a motion to set those dates in.
Does that work for everybody else? 6th
What
and
day
7th?
is that?
Yeah, you've got nothing. Monday the 6th, the Tuesday the 7th?
But I'm not sure where you're wanting to have these at, 7th is court though, and we have a fairly large amount on 7th.
Okay, could we just do them all on the 6th?
3 nights to, you won't do justice.
We have Fair Association that night at the rec center, so, I mean, they could move.
Or it's at 6:30,
It's at 5:30 on the 7th, first and third Tuesday.
so you could do,
No,
6:30.
sorry, it's at 5 o'clock. It's at 5 o'clock.
Do a
We should have been
6:30.
done by 5:30 to
Okay,
5:45.
or do a 6 o'clock and do 6 o'clock, do 6 o'clock both nights, just make it simple.
Right, the 6th and 7th at 6 P.M.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I move to hold special city council meetings on July 6th and July 7th at 6 P.M. for interviews for the city administrator position.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Allen, second by Council President Hanson to hold city council meetings on July 6th and July 7th at 6 PM for interviews for the city administrator position. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion passed. Okay, so at our last library board meeting, we had somebody resign. They're moving out of town, so we can't be on the city library board. We live in Johnson County. So Nate Nas has submitted a letter of intent to be on this board. So if you all would like to appoint him, I would appreciate that.
Madam Mayor, I move to accept your appointment of Nate Nas to the library board to fulfill an unexpired term ending in May of 2027.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Renard, second by Councilmember Moon to appoint Nate Nas to the recently vacated spot on the library board ending May 2027. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
How do you spell that last three?
NAASZ.
I can't.
Hope they don't jump on
Nora. Oh.
Yeah.
I think.
What's the?
Oh, and I'll write it down for you. How about that?
Nora Alpha Sierra Zulu.
Take care.
Wow. Okay, I got that.
Okay, department heads, what we got back there? Dave, you got anything for us?
Oh. That's a yes. That's a yes.
That's how many question.
That shows that you want to hear about.
I gotta give our crew the kudos for getting these leaks fixed that they worked really, really hard to do. It was a major deal because every time they fixed it,
then part of it broke again, part of it broke again, and it just kept on breaking, and they finally got it to where it quit breaking, and they finally got it fixed. So I gotta give them real, kudos for trying to get it all done.
Thank your crew for us.
But,
It's good work.
it's, and then they had to. It's another deal because the valve broke when they were turning it back on, so then they had to go out and fix that again. They got it done as quick as they could possibly get it done. That's basically all I could say on that.
All right, thank you. Good crew. Ronnie, anything else for us?
One quick thing. Just an update on the lights out the ball fields. About a month ago, we went to turn them on, and we had one pole about halfway up, spark. Flames were going up the pole, but we cut the power and so I've since had it fixed. And the guy that came and fixed it said, it's pretty much just a Band-Aid, so. And since then, I've had 3 bulbs go out and they're not the bulbs, so it's an electrical issue, so just food for thought. So,
Are you gonna be around tomorrow?
will I be around? I won't be around tomorrow.
No, okay, because I have,
Back Wednesday.
okay, I'll call you on Wednesday. I have a question about fair stuff.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy,
No, Madam Mayor, I'm good.
thanks for bringing your crew tonight. Mr. Casper,
Nothing, Madam Mayor, but I ain't going to be stepping out. I have a daughter who has to get to a softball game there in Olympic, so if you guys have any questions for me before I go, didn't really see anything else on the agenda, but
I think so.
I'm always available by text or email.
Thanks for your insights tonight. Mrs. Blandy, is this the last time we're calling you Mrs. Blandy?
Yes, ma'am. We have our 5-year inspection by the Kansas Department of Labor coming up on July 22nd. And in response to the issue that you asked about at the end of the last meeting on June 8th, the city treasurer found some city code pertaining to the issue of animals at large. The first code is 6.04.010, which defines at large, and then code 6.04.310. Section A says it is unlawful for the owner or harborer of any dog or cat to permit such dog or cat to run at large within the city at any time.
All right. I think that's probably a little bit harder for a cat, but
Except how you're gonna afford enforcement.
I feel like dogs are a little bit easier, right? But this is a good reminder to keep your dogs on the leash when they're out and about.
I think with the cats, that do we not still have the TNR project going?
Yeah, but these aren't always TNR cats.
Yeah, these could be domesticated.
These could be your.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I guess if you let your cat out and it gets trapped, they're bad luck.
Yeah.
There,
Mine's
further
down.
down in that section of the city code, it talks about procedures, penalties.
I mean, and I did just hear a story from a friend recently about a neighbor girl getting bit by a dog that was not on a leash. So again, just a reminder, it's not just annoying, so pick up your food, but there's some, yeah, thank you for looking into that. Okay, Mr. Ninkle, what else you got for us? How long's your list tonight?
Not real long, well, police department last I heard tonight, and I think, I sent my note to you on Friday, if you haven't yet, go to Facebook about a week and a half ago, listen to Lang's Acres, when he takes the time at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning to thank the police for doing something that we're used to this small town. To me, that was big. I said it to Chief right away because I thought that was that cool, because somebody took time at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock, when a police officer went door to door. We're seeing that happen, and then all the comments, public comments were all great. Don't get that on Facebook all the time. I think people in the town are noticing it again. I think, Chief and the staff are doing that, because I'm gonna get a ticket someday. I know it, because they're gonna stop me. And there's probably a lottery going on who
Like,
drives
your
politics
pets
first.
on the leash. Don't let it be that.
My pets will not get loose because they have the. Yeah, just. You know, that's all and the light duty, and the mission light duty, and as I wrote my letter last Friday, also be read. Basically, our work comp rates are low because we do have a light duty program and we haven't had an injury for a long time. We got them back to work right away. And again, it's not work. I mean, it's not. You know, we wouldn't have done the work, but we're doing the work anyhow, so it's catching the department up and moving it far more. But trust me, it makes a difference. Our work comp is extremely low. And again, we'll continue working the budget. I'll say you'll get a lot of emails for the next couple of weeks about budget stuff. And again, gotta keep taxes down. And again, hopefully the fire department, I know I'm adamant about that from a standpoint of, you know, I've always been for 37 years, had to figure out how to pay for things. And that's always a tough issue. And again, what happened here was a 40-year deal, but I don't feel bad for doing it because your new administrator wouldn't have the ability to do that. And again, whatever you decide is totally fine with me. I always have a hired hand. But on the other hand, though, I gave what I figure sound advice. Thank you.
All right, City Council, Councilmember Allen. Councilmember Moon.
I have two things, Madam Mayor. One, just a clarification. I had asked if the taxpayers, the city hearing to hear what the citizens of the town had to say about the fire district stuff. And I thought I heard someone say, we have an annual hearing.
You have a budget hearing.
For the budget.
Yeah, of course. That's open every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's open every 2 weeks, and you are very encouraged to come in here. They have the opportunity to come every 2 weeks. And they have the opportunity to come in the office if they want to visit about budget, come in the office. The gentleman right here has been in my office on a few thesis questions, and we always take the time and we work with them. I mean, that's what we do right here. So if people have questions, come in the office. Myself or staff member can go through, here's what our costs and everything else. So there's no secrets. It never has been. Mike's been in a couple of times, just had this question. Of course, he probably stays longer than he planned to, because we talk about other things about city staff, but we're here and again. Every 2 weeks, you can stay right there.
And then the second thing, Madam Mayor, is you had brought up a question to Alan about the fines and fees about KDHE and water. General violations of KDHE orders and rules can be the minimum of $25, or it could be $10,000 upon a conviction. Any negligent violations up to 1 year imprisonment and or fines between $2,500 and $25,000 a day. Knowing violations up to 3 years imprisonment or fines between $5,000 and $50,000 per day.
I was the former mayor. This mayor's asking that question, so.
No, I just asked, I think one time, just
You-
to remind the public, like, if
It's
we
a-
were doing the sewer lagoon project.
Right, it would hurt.
Consequences.
Yeah,
That's not, I mean, that's individual. I mean, we're talking the city, and now
It-
we're not talking 10,000, we're talking millions. of
It'd be
dollars.
ugly. It'd be
Hundreds of thousands. millions of
You're
dollars.
you're being irresponsible for it already.
Right, exactly, but I just felt like
Yeah.
the public at large needed a reminder about why we have to spend this money.
I'm not a attorney, I know that, but, Rose said, condolences to Councilmember Moon, his father passed away. So.
Sorry,
Sorry.
he's a pretty great guy.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else for us?
No, that's all.
Okay, Mr. Bishop. Excuse me, Councilmember Bishop. Council President Hanson. Nope. Okay, I've got two things. I had somebody tell me that they thought the stop sign by Post Rock Rural Water, so I think that is. No, it's
Main
like,
Street.
yeah, Old Main Street. They just thought, because that street runs to the senior center, it's just hard, like, there's a tree right there, and when it's beautiful because it's rain, but because it's all in bloom, it makes it kind of difficult to see past it. And so kind of a concern about seniors driving down that street on their way to or from senior center, and just you know, kids crossing this to go, this, anyway, anybody can have an accident, I'm not just saying it's adults, but you could check that out. They just thought it was a little bushy. They enjoyed the look of it, but thought it was a hazard. And then also, can we please remind people that there is a stop sign at 3rd and 8th Street? It's kind of that funky little curved street. I saw somebody run it the other day and I like didn't even yield. And I'm like, okay, the 8th Street is very busy, 3rd Street is very busy. So this is just a PSA, stop your vehicle at that stop sign. And that is it. That I'm off my soapbox now. Okay.
We'll pass out some do better tickets.
Yeah, I'm happy to stand out there with my blow dryer so people think that I got a radar gun.
Call me, I'll get a picture.
Yeah, okay, perfect. As long as I can be on the front page. All right, who wants to adjourn this meeting?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Been moved by Council President Hanson, second by Councilmember Allen to adjourn tonight's meeting. Oh, exactly 6:45. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Meeting